There's the Satanic flea market that happens in London. And there's the Satanic Church. I think the UK people were there. And they're just really friendly people. They do crochet and stuff. And you're like, these people are
What is
wonderful.
more diabolical than crochet?
But they make like they do crochet and put it in frames and everything. And
But crochet of what? The devil?
so they had one that says like Hail Satan and all that sort of stuff. But it's like in really nice colours and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, this is cute.
Hello! Welcome to Believe, the Conspiracy Theory podcast. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And this is a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories, unless
we're blowing the lid off the truth and all the secrets and we're revealing everything for you.
Yeah, and this one I think is definitely one where we are revealing some secrets. God damn it.
God damn it.
Yes. This is a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories. In each episode, we bring on a fellow comedian. That comedian has picked a conspiracy theory they want to talk about. It might be a conspiracy theory they believe. It might be a conspiracy theory they don't believe. It might be a conspiracy theory they have heard whispers about. Someone has whispered this in their ear. It's in their head now. They can't get it out their head. They need to make sense of it. They need somebody, two people ideally, that can put them in a blue chair, read out some facts and fiction at them, and then they can make a decision as to whether it's true or not.
That's us.
That's us. That is us. What a coincidence. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, where can they do that?
We're all over social media. Well, by that I mean only 3 places. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yes, where all the kids are, we imagine. We've got absolutely no idea. But if you do want to follow us, those are the social media channels that we are on. We
Believe Conspiracy Pod.
Yes, Believe Conspiracy Pod is the handle. We post content related to the episodes that we've been doing. Lots of photos, videos. Comment on them, like them. Tell us what you think of the conspiracy we've been talking about. We want to know.
Yes.
And if you have a conspiracy theory that you would like us to cover on this very podcast, how can they let us know?
Oh my goodness, by the magic of email. You can get us on believeconspiracypod@gmail.com.
Yes, email us. Let us know the conspiracy theories you want us to cover. We will add them to our list and we will find a comedian that wants to talk about that conspiracy theory so that you can sleep at night.
Yes.
Now, if you do like this podcast...
And you do.
Give us a little 5-star review. Go on to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Please give us a little 5-star review. It helps us grow our little pod. We're very, very happy with the way things are going, but we'd like a few more people. If you love us a lot, then go on there and do that, and it will help us enormously.
Yes, and I'm very needy.
Yes, he is very needy. Now, we should give a big shout out to our tech.
The wonderful, the fantastic. We couldn't do it without him.
George is here. He is on his chain, which we've given a little bit more flex on.
He's a good boy.
He's been a good boy this week, and he makes the magic happen, and we wouldn't do it without him, would
No,
we?
we wouldn't do it without
Absolutely
him.
not. Now, who is today's fantastic guest?
Today's fantastic. I remember the first time I ever saw this man. He was just immediately hilarious and funny, and he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. It is the wonderful TikTok sensation that is Luke Poulton.
TikTok sensation Luke Poulton. Luke is an award-winning comedian and social media star. In his stand-out, he talks a lot about being autistic, but he also talks loads about his love of Wallace and Gromit, which he is one of the biggest Wallace and Gromit fans. He has over 175,000 followers online, and he also has one of the largest collection of Pez dispensers in the world.
What would possess anyone to collect plastic items over and over again?
I know, freaks if you ask me. Yeah. Anyway, let's find out all about that. What is the conspiracy that Luke has chosen?
The conspiracy theory that Luke Poulton has chosen is the Ice Bucket Challenge was a satanic ritual.
Ooh. Let's bring on Luke.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
You doubt your government.
It's an urban legend.
Like if they're actually spraying something in the sky.
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, Luke Poulton! TikTok sensation, Luke Poulton. You love that title now?
I do.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to have. And Wallace and Gromit guy is the other one that I get.
Who calls you that?
When I've been at gigs, people come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're the Wallace and Gromit guy, aren't you?" So I get that as well.
Yeah. It is an amazing obsession. I want to talk about your appearance on This Morning. You went on there as a collector of Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit and Pez. Yeah.
The Pez dispensers. Okay.
For those for people who might not know, what is a Pez dispenser?
So Pez dispensers, well, they are a candy dispenser where they've got a head on top, and then when you pull back the head, the candy comes out. But they've been around since, Pez dispensers have been around since 1952, but the actual Pez company has been around since 1927.
What's your oldest Pez dispenser?
Oldest Pez dispenser I have is 1973, but that's before they put feet on them if you know what the feet are on the bottom. So they used to not have feet on them, so they made shoes for them at one point.
Yeah.
So they couldn't stand up. Sometimes they couldn't stand up on their own.
Yeah.
So they didn't have feet on the bottom of them at one point. So they made little shoes to.
What is the theme of the one from 1972?
No, so that's a raven that I have.
Oh, so it's not really like a cartoony character. It's
No,
like
so they used to just make at the start, because Popeye's their first one that they got, like in the 1958. That was Popeye's the first character they had, but before that they were just doing like random characters. Like a witch is the first head they had on top of Pez Spencer.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
that's the first one that they made.
I remember those from being a kid. I remember
Yeah.
Witch's head's been on the Pez Spencer.
Yeah,
Are these worth a lot of money?
some of them are. Yeah. Like, they are worth quite a lot. There's ones. There was a JFK had a set at one point.
Did he?
And those all went for loads and loads of money.
Yeah.
Like when JFK visited Austria, the Pez company gave him a little briefcase with, I think he had a donkey, his wife had just a golden Pez Spencer, and then his daughter got Bozo the clown. And JFK just gave it to some man, and it was just in some man's garage, and then it went to auction in the end because it had an actual letter to JFK inside.
That's amazing. Because he would never have thought at that point this would be worth something.
No. And he just
A, I'll be shot. A, B, this
yeah,
will be worth
he
something.
just gave it to someone that worked for him.
How many Pez Dispensers have you got?
So at the moment, I think I've got 420.
Wow.
So it's quite a lot. Yeah.
And Wallace and Gromit. So when you went on, so talk me through the this morning thing. So you went on because you had the Wallace and Gromit collection, and then and the Pez dispenser. But
Yeah.
Because wasn't it the value of the Wallace and Gromit stuff that was like the key thing about that bit?
Yes, they had seen a video, so
Yeah.
it wasn't just a TikTok
Yeah, 'cause
video.
you
I think
sent
it went
yeah.
like viral in one day. It was just some random video that I'd put out.
Yeah.
On
Showing off-
TikTok?
Yeah, it was on TikTok.
you on- you're
TikTok
on-
first, and then afterward it went viral on Instagram as well. So
Oh, so you're an Instagram sensation as
Instagram,
well? Okay.
it's on 4 million views now.
Yeah.
So
brilliant, man.
So it was TikTok first, and it was just see a little video showing off from Wallace and Gromit alarm clock, and then that day they emailed me being like, "Do you want to come on the show?" But at first they were like, "Can you bring on everything?" And I'm like, "I've got thousands of stuff. I can't bring on everything." So in the end, I took on like a suitcase, and like it was so much stuff that I took on. It was weird to see my room quite empty.
Yeah. Who was it presenting?
So that was. It's good that I forgot now. It's Cat
Dealey and Ben
Tilly.
Shepherd.
Yeah, Ben Shepherd. Yeah.
You dodged a bullet with Schofield then, because
Yeah.
he'd have been all over that.
Oh no, there's still. I don't know if I'm allowed to. There was still pictures of him up in the studio.
Of course, like,
on,
because
on the walls. But
it's
they
like a
had. But what
divorce.
they started doing is they slowly started getting rid of the pictures on the walls.
Yeah.
So you can see that they've started to sort of get rid of him and then put other people, new presenters' pictures, and slowly.
Are they phasing it out?
Slowly make him disappear.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to let go. I can imagine the BBC News studios have taken down the pictures of Hugh Edwards. You would think.
I can imagine. Well, who
Yeah.
knows? They're so into paedophiles, the BBC.
Yeah, that's true.
Allegedly.
And
Jimmy Savile.
that's where this morning is filmed, in the BBC studios.
Oh my God, it's cursed.
It's pretty exciting though to go on there.
Yeah, no, it was. It was weird. Put all my stuff out, and people see it, and then I'd had a phone call with the man that was meant to be evaluating it.
Yeah.
The day before, and I even told him stuff. I was like, "Yeah, this is from this year. This is from here."
Did he value the entire collection, or did he just value the stuff that you took on
He
this morning?
he valued the things that the two things I'd taken on, and then he sort of almost guessed with the other stuff.
Yeah.
We're just valuing it, because when I actually looked at my best Spencer collection, I was like, "Nah, it's definitely worth a lot more than I think," because he didn't know everything about them.
Yeah.
So he sort of was like, "Oh yeah, it's worth $2,000," and I was like, "No, there's some stuff
it's
here
more
that's
than
worth."
So basically, he wasn't an expert.
No, because he got the year wrong on because the Raven one is what I took on, because that still goes for like £50 to £100, just the Raven one. And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is from 1938," and I was like, "No, Pez Spencer weren't even around at that point." And I'm there on TV, and my girlfriend, she was watching it at home, and she got video of it on her phone, and she was like, I could tell when the camera turned, because the camera turned back to me as soon as he said the year,
Yeah.
and there was just this look of disgust on my face. And I didn't say
Fucking idiot.
I didn't say anything.
No,
Honestly,
because you don't want to
I was
be
live on
rude.
air. And
Yeah, you don't want to be rude.
It wasn't until we got off air that I went to him, "Just to let you know, you got the year wrong." And he was like, "Oh, did I?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he just walked off. And I
You
was
should
like,
have outed him on TV.
No, when it came to when he evaluated the Wallace and Gromit Curse of the Were Rabbit VHS, he had said like the year of it first, and he turned to me and started asking me stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just going to jump in now, not let him get anything wrong."
Yeah.
And I just started saying all the years and everything about
This
it.
is your obsessiveness taken over, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't. I need to control the
Yeah.
situation
But
because this
there
guy
were-
knows nothing.
There would be people watching that going, "Oh my God, they got that wrong!" Like it's so.
Yeah, there will. Yeah.
You know, like I, as a one collector to another, you did the right thing, man.
No, it's always with me with my interests. If someone gets something wrong, I have to
Yeah,
correct them.
Yeah.
I remember being in a shop once and there was Childish Gambino was playing in the shop, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, this is Danny Glover's son," and I was like, "No, it's not. They're not even related." And I was just because I was really obsessed with Childish Gambino at this point, and Donald Glover. I was like, just because they got the same surname, no, they're not related. And he got really embarrassed because I think he was trying to sort of act like he knew everything about music, and then got the person wrong. So that's how I am with. I have to correct people if
I like the
if
idea
I hear
of you
something.
relentlessly wandering around the streets, correcting people on minor details that have absolutely no impact on anyone's life, but it just
But it drives you crazy.
does drive you crazy. It
It's
does.
like
Yeah,
you got that wrong. You got that wrong. You got that wrong.
and right? And then and it's so annoying when people are. This is probably with conspiracy theories, but when people are absolute about something, and you're like, no, you've just.
Yeah.
Where have you got that fact from?
Well, that was with the newest Chicken Run film, because Feathers McGraw, the penguin that's appeared in The Wrong Trousers, appears at the end of that.
Really?
Yeah, it appears. He pops out at the end of that.
I've seen that.
And he's with all the other chickens, and people are like, "Oh, how did he escape?" And then I had to correct people and be like, "Nah, Chicken Run's meant to be set in the 1950s, and then this one, Dawn of the Nugget's meant to be set in the 1960s, and the Wallace and Gromit film's meant to be set in the 1970s." So. He hasn't escaped. It's him doing stuff. And
I can't imagine Nick Park wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
through. He would have, surely would have been up on the detail there. And if he isn't, he's got someone who can correct him anyway, so it's fine. Because Curse of the Were-Rabbit, because my sister's really into Wallace and Gromit, and I, when I first watched Curse of the Were-Rabbit, I thought, oh, it's good, but it's not as good as The Wrong Trousers or some of the other films. And then I've rewatched it since, and I actually think it is up there with some of the best Wallace and Gromit
definitely.
stuff. It's a brilliant film, and genuinely quite frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called it the first vegetarian horror movie. That's what it was called.
So conspiracy theories. What are your thoughts on conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists?
Some of them can be fun and interesting, but there's some stuff that I've so I don't know if you ever saw the whole documentary about Room 237, which was just the whole thing was just a conspiracy about The Shining.
Yes, I know that.
And
all the different
the whole
interpretations.
film is pretty much just conspiracy theorists saying stuff, and you're like, no, this doesn't sound right. There's a whole thing about Jack being in the hotel, and then when he's been first interviewed there, there's like weird stuff about the window behind him. You're like, oh yeah, it's daytime. And that he's not actually in the hotel, he's in the city, and there's all these weird conspiracies that don't make any sense as to what they were really talking about.
Yeah, I'm much because I've talking about that The Shining, The Impossible Office. I think is unsettling. You know, that's not where it should be. But he is in the hotel.
Yeah,
you know, like it's not like it's not something transplanted. I mean, I love The Shining. I love Kubrick, and I find it fascinating. And I vacillate about what is it about. Is it a ghost story? Is it about child abuse? And I think it's all those things, and I think it's other things as well. But I want to talk about movies now. This is so bad. I'm so sorry.
It's because I brought up the Room 237.
Yeah,
I think it's because the people that have made those, they've gone on to do a lot of conspiracy type films. They did the film that was Enter the I don't think it was Enter the Matrix, but it was about they thought everyone was living in a computer game. So they've done a lot of conspiracy theories documentaries, and I find them interesting to watch. I think the funniest one I watched was the one about the flat earthers, where they tried to do the laser at the end of the documentary, and they were like, "Oh no, it's not pointing where we wanted it to." And I was like, "That's the perfect." So I think they can be interesting, but there are some conspiracy theories that do go quite overboard. But there are some that I could see as true. But I'm not so sure with this one today.
Well, the thing is with this one, because we know, obviously you mentioned The Shining, but you are a horror movie fan as well. So it's sort of is quite apt. However, you're right. There's a level of ridiculousness about this. Anyway, the Ice Bucket Challenge was a satanic ritual. So the Ice Bucket Challenge was a viral campaign that gained immense popularity in the summer of 2014. It involved people pouring buckets of ice water over their heads, sharing videos of the act on social media, and challenging others to do the same or make a donation to ALS, which is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis research. The challenge was co-founded by Pat Quinn, Pete Freites, and Corey Griffin. It went viral on social media during July to August 2014. In the United States, many people participated for the ALS Association, and in the United Kingdom, many people participated for the Motor Neurone Disease Association, which is what it's called over here. Although some individuals opted to donate their money from the Ice Bucket Challenge to other organisations. Despite its noble intentions and remarkable success, some conspiracy theorists have attempted to label it as a satanic ritual. So,
It
Luke,
was.
Oh, what? Case closed. Thanks for coming, Luke. Did you do the Ice Bucket Challenge?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I saw a lot of people doing it, saw all the celebrities doing it, and
And you weren't a celebrity at that point.
No.
You
Yeah.
were a TikTok
No,
sensation.
I was just on YouTube with like 1,000 subscribers, and that was it.
Oh, 1,000 subscribers.
Did you do it?
The Ice Bucket Challenge? No.
Okay.
But I do have cold showers now.
So that's the same.
So you know,
Same.
You know the cold plunges. That's extended from that.
When people
Yeah.
jump in get in a bin
Yeah,
or
yeah.
get in the bath.
Yeah,
yeah,
I have
yeah.
cold plunge, and I can't do a cold plunge, but I can do I would love to do a cold plunge. I just don't have the facilities, but I do have cold showers, and it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible, and then it's wonderful.
I don't think that many people do have the facilities.
Well, a shower, like a cold
Oh, you
shower.
mean okay, right? Okay, fine.
I can't do like I don't have I couldn't fill my bath full of water and ice because that would just be a waste of water.
Yeah. So this recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary, which I actually couldn't really believe until I started reading this.
Right.
I was like, oh, fuck, that was 10 years ago.
Life is fleeting.
Do you remember people nominating you to do it?
Yes, I got nominated twice.
Yeah.
It was when there was a point where on YouTube you could do. They got rid of video responses, but there would be people like, oh yeah, do a video. It would just be a video response, keep
Yeah.
on going, and more people doing it.
Yeah.
I miss YouTube video responses so
I'm
much.
sad you can't do them anymore, but
Google Plus, god damn it.
yeah.
Sorry.
But
It's why you move on to TikTok. The thing is, I don't know whether there's been a viral phenomenon quite like this before or since. I can't remember anything that is the equivalent of this.
not charity, but you had the cinnamon challenge
What was that?
where people had to. I think it was probably when did it first start? It's probably like 2009, 2010, where people just had to eat a spoonful of cinnamon and try and swallow it, and there was just multiple videos of people just choking it up because they tried to swallow. You just try and swallow it straight, but that was one thing that sort of went viral
Yeah.
at one point. There was a challenge as well that people were
Dangerously
doing.
viral, I'd say, with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so the theory behind this. Oprah Winfrey is the satanic leader. So, Selena Owens, a columnist for the extremely right-wing WND.com, wrote, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is ritualistic in nature, describing the trend as if she were an ethnographer studying small tribes in newly discovered land. And after pursuing the list of celebrities who've embraced the Ice Bucket Challenge, including the apparently pagan Lady Gaga and Oprah Winfrey, Owens was forced to conclude that it's more than just any old ritual. In her piece, Owens implied that she did not initially oppose the Ice Bucket Challenge, although she admits that it didn't feel right to her from the beginning. But when she heard Oprah try to replace Christianity and Jesus with the ALS, it turned her into a crusading opponent of the fundraising trend. After Oprah jokingly said that she was taking on the challenge in the name of ALS and the Ice Bucket Challenge, and not in the name of Jesus, Owens wrote she realised the awful truth. Oprah mistakenly believes the one true God is jealous of her and basically considers herself to be a god. I found this statement to be very cultic in nature. She's the leader.
Well, I mean, Oprah Winfrey, like, you know, there's a lot that's like we said about her.
There's been rumours about Oprah being in the Illuminati for many years, haven't there? That's she's always one of those people that people say, oh, she's one of them. She's in the...
Well, she would have to be. If Oprah's not in the Illuminati, and then what's the point of the Illuminati?
Yeah, 'cause it's world leaders and people with massive amounts of influence, and she's up there, isn't she?
You saying that's the only reason she's able to put stuff under people's chairs because of the Illuminati?
I am now.
Luke.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking of the right lines. But Oprah is not the only one behind the cult, even if she is its ultimate architect. More troublingly, Owens argued the influence of satanic occultism reached to the very top of the American pop culture pyramid. She said, whenever spectators watch singers like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, and especially Nicki Minaj, they are indoctrinated and involved with blatantly satanic rituals that stem from the deep abyss of the occult. Some of these very same artists have taken the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Gaga doesn't utter utter a word as she baptizes herself, arrayed in a sexy black leotard, sporting black lips, perched in an ornate black chair. Gaga doesn't use a bucket. Instead, she uses a large silver bowl associated with pagan worship. Do you think she would take the ice bucket challenge if it didn't meet her pagan criteria? Not a chance. Do you remember? Do you remember Lady Gaga's one?
Yes, and it was a satanic baptism.
Do you believe this?
The woman that you've just read out, I'm not on board with her, but this was a ritualistic cleansing. If you have an occult worldview, that was very, very, very clear the way that they did it, and the fact that it was the ALS. I know ALS stands for a medical condition, but motor neuron disease in the UK. But that's all. ALS is short for, that's a demonic name. And so this being a satanic ritual, okay, I maybe put a pin in Satanism, because I think Satanism is it's weirdos and drunks trying to be edgy. But if we're talking about an occultic worldview, yes, this was a ritualistic baptism, and certainly Lady Gaga was doing that with the silver mug and whatever. And when you see that, and especially at that time in 1914, I don't mean 1914,
the early days of YouTube,
and 2014, when like Lady Gaga was just kept on doing all these satanic rituals, which were brilliant shows. Don't get me wrong, but like
but she was trying at that time. She wanted an air of mystery about her, didn't she?
Yes.
And I know to a certain extent she still does, but she's slightly more personable now.
Yeah, she wants to be an actor now.
Yeah, but she wanted that aloofness back then, didn't
Absolutely. But I mean, like looking at seeing Jay-Z with Rihanna, doing all those hand symbols and whatever, and it's from an occultic perspective.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, they're doing ceremonies. Like even like the opening ceremony for the Olympics. That's the occultic. People are going, oh, it was mocking the Last Supper. I'm going, well, that's a very common image, but there's loads of occultic things in there. And going, it's sorcerers rule the world.
I mean, if you're talking about the true definition of occult or occultic behavior, this is it, isn't it?
Yes.
But I wouldn't say, well, the Church of Satan isn't.
Oh no.
They're not like a horrific people. If you watch the documentary Hail Satan, they are just people that want to help people. There's a whole thing where they're building a food bank and just getting period products for people. And I don't think this is something they would. That would be part of.
I would remove this satanic, because it's I've got a really good friend, Wonder Woman fan, Ginger Lay. Hello, Ginger. The most beautiful hair, and she's a Satanist, and she's like, oh yeah, it's about not having a god. It's about following yourself and being like doing the food banks and whatever.
Yeah.
So like, hail Satan. That'll keep that in.
Yeah. But we're going Rosary's baby, aren't we? But it does.
He has his father's eyes.
Yeah. But there are traits of cult-like behavior in the way this was sort of fed out. And I guess it was the first thing to use social media on a sort of global level to sort of build a following and sort of provoke cult-like behavior, right?
Absolutely.
Follow me. Because literally nominating somebody is saying, follow me doing this, right? Yeah. Do what I do.
I'm really worried I've upset you.
No. I think in my head, the whole thing I was thinking when you were talking about pop artists doing satanic shows, I'm like, David, have you seen a death metal show? Because there are people that were at one point actually bringing goats on stage and doing that stuff, and I think that's more than.
But see, that's a satanic ritual as well.
Yeah. No, but that's what these death metal bands are doing at one point.
Definitely. And the occultic worldview works.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him to sell his soul, and he won't let me.
Oh, I'm a comedian. I sold it years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But death metal bands, as you said, that again is a similar thing. You're trying to create an air of mystique and intrigue to build a following, right?
Yeah.
So the things that you do, or rumoured to have done, whether you did them or not. Like, I don't know about the Ozzy Osbourne bat story thing.
Did he? He definitely bit something's head.
There was something there, but there was then, I think, Slipknot as well, one of the bands at one point that had been told they'd bought a goat on stage and cut off a goat's head or something on stage at one point. So there was always those weird rumours.
But again, it's a bit like you can feed those rumours out, and and the fans see them. I guess pre-internet it was much easier to do that, and people just believe them because it's very difficult to verify it, very difficult to check it back then. But it just adds to an air of mystique, doesn't it? And it makes people want to follow, makes people intrigued to follow. This is a fascinating, whether you like them or not, it's a fascinating story. It's a fascinating individual.
I'm trying to think what cult it was at one point that they just put like a weird advertisement online, and that's how they got people to go to it. They acted like it was like a space camp almost, and then got people to go there.
Oh, had the Heaven's Gate cult?
I think Heaven's Gate. I think Heaven's Gate were doing videos at first to draw people in.
Well, Heaven's Gate. It was like, I mean, that was a tragedy, but it like you saw the videos of those people. Like you can look it up online. Them talking about how they think it's true, like, and it's like, oh my god, like these people are about to kill themselves. It's horrible. But ritualistic behavior. Trying to get back to the point, ritualistic behavior can get you into that mindset. Like, I'm joking aside, we're all comedians, but we keep doing it. Like it's, some of us are more successful than others, But like, once you sort of get into the swing of things, that's just the way that you live your life, and it all seems reasonable. Like, I just had a show where I performed in front of 2 people. Do you know what I mean? That's not normal. A normal person would go, oh, that's a total of £12. Do you know what? I'll pay you back right now. Good night. But I still did it. Actually, great time.
When I did my Camden Fridge for the first time, when I did a show they gave me an extra date because I sold out one of the nights, and they were like, do you want a third date? And they were like, oh, it's Saturday at 12:30. In the daytime. I had 4 people in, and
it was more than I had.
two sat in the middle row and 2 sit out the back.
And I think I know what room that's in, and that's a big room.
And I was like, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, you got it.
And they were lovely still. So, but you got to, with these things, we've performed comedy to just one man and his dog. Sometimes. So.
And that's not Wallace and Gromit.
It's a good parallel though, that it is quite cult-like, isn't it? Because once you're in,
once you're in,
exactly. It's very easy to get pulled into the comedy bubble, and I'm sure it's like this with music, it's like this with the arts generally. But you get pulled into that world, and it becomes your world, and then everything becomes very obsessive, doesn't it? And your behaviour, as you said, becomes quite ritualistic, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, all my dreams are to do with comedy, and it's ridiculous because I had hope at one point,
Luke, have you got any rituals for performing that you do?
No, I still just no rituals. I just practice my stuff in my room at home. That's it. That's what I do. That's
Which
what I do.
Which itself is quite insane.
To get ready. It's just me in my room, and if anyone walks past, they can just hear me talking out loud.
Yeah.
But sometimes I still do the crowd work bits in my room, and I'm like, and I try and imagine an answer back.
Yeah. But that's the
like,
way
those 4 people are probably going to say this tonight.
It's because you've still got to figure out, you're like, this show's got to be an hour. Yeah. There's a crowd work bit right here. Yeah. I've got to try and make up this person does like a long answer.
Yeah.
So that's the things that I do still.
Yeah, but like anybody running the Olympics, performing in the Olympics, they physically train. They go through all that, but they also mentally go over. Say it's a race, they run that race in their head over and over again. They do the javelin throw. They go through whatever they're going to do at the Olympics. So it's the same thing. Like I go over my set when I go for a walk, and then I walk past people because I've gotten into it, and people look at me weird. Because I'm saying like cunt, and it's just completely out of the blue.
Yeah.
I actually don't think I have any
AirPods in, and then it looks like you're on the phone. Then you look less mental.
Well, no, I look mental.
The thing that I used to do was, this probably sounds weird now, is that when I was working, I still work in an office now, but when I was working from home, I was practicing the stuff at home. But then when I would have a gig that evening, I'd go straight from work. I would go into a toilet cubicle and practice my set.
Yeah.
But someone could hear my stopwatch starting up. So I'd be starting to be like, I've got to do 10 minutes. Let me just practice in the toilet. So they'd be hearing the start button, and then me pressing it and then flushing the toilet. And they're probably thinking, he's timed how long he's going to the toilet for.
Oh my God.
I love the idea of them hearing an alarm and then a flush, and then you walking out and they're like, wow, he really runs to time. He is efficient in his shitting.
Well, we have to be.
You got to be, yeah. You got to be. It
Fiber
keeps you regular. Still, as far as Owen sees it, this remains Oprah's show. Oprah is a god to millions of Americans, and those who follow her doctrine and antics have tossed Jesus off the throne and of their hearts. She wrote that. Perhaps not intentionally, or perhaps so. Yet, by following her seemingly innocent ice bucket challenge decree, knowingly or not, they have cast Jesus off symbolically. May Oprah have mercy on their souls. This is the thing that actually, well, it wasn't the only thing about this, but this particular article, which was written, I think quite a few days after this really kicked off in 2014, and then I think quite a lot of fairly right-wing organisations or forums jumped on it and then started using it, and I've seen this quoted in lots of other areas. So this is the thing that sort of built that. But again, when something becomes very mainstream and very popular, there's always a movement that is anti it, isn't there? It's almost like we don't want to be part of that. We want to be the anti-movement. And there's got to be a reason why the thing that the people are doing is bad or terrible or so I kind of think that's what that's about.
Yeah, they just want a slice of the pie.
Yeah.
And
Well, it was in the UK that after all of this stuff happened, someone did decide to write an article, and I thought the whole time reading it that it was satire. And it was just them saying about Susan Boyle, because Susan Boyle was someone that joined in on it. And they were like, yeah, does she know she's doing a satanic ritual? She was holding like an American flag up. And now she's part of the cult.
Yeah.
And it's all talking about how Justin Bieber did it as well. But apparently Justin Bieber did it twice.
Oh, did he?
I think he did,
That rings a bell. Said that. I think that rings a bell.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about him doing it twice. And then there was a weird thing that I think it was Dave Bautista had got in a bath and done it, and people were like, that's not how you do it. So then he did it a second time as well.
Because he got it wrong the first time.
So people, then there's one thing where, I can't remember what celebrity it was, just got the bucket dropped on their head. So instead of the person like just pouring it, they just dropped this whole massive bucket on the person. The person fell over. And I think that's one thing that people were like, well, they're doing this on purpose now. Because that's what, if they do this accident happening, then it's going to bring more people to it to see it, because, someone's getting hurt or whatever in the video makes it more viral.
I love watching like high-profile celebrities try and do something that normal people are doing, and they're like getting it wrong. It's wonderful to watch because it's so exposing of how out of touch they are with like the common person. Yeah. So celebrities who did the Ice Bucket Challenge: George Bush did it. That's one of the most high-profile ones. Tom Cruise, Mel B, Chris Pratt, Taylor Swift, Simon Cowell, David Beckham, Gwyneth Paltrow, and as you said, Luke, Susan Boyle, who performed it while sitting in a chair holding an American flag in one hand, a bottle of shampoo in the other hand, and singing "I Dreamed a Dream."
That's iconic.
It is.
Oh my goodness.
And I rewatched that, and it is amazing. And I don't even think there's a level of irony in it.
She's an innocent. I actually have a lot of love for Susan Boyle.
Yeah. It is quite charming, weird but charming.
Yeah. She's odd, but I wish her every success. This was
Susan Boyle at very much the height of her fame, I think, at this point, isn't it? But it is amazing again how many of those celebrities jumped on it. It's quite incredible. But you're right, some of them reinterpreted how they did it. Gargoyle obviously being one of them, but I think that was intentional. Whereas, as you said, Luke, some of them just fucked it up.
Well, I think Bill Gates did it as well.
Yeah, he did.
But he did a weird. So he had a contraption built for it.
He had scaffolding.
He had like didn't he have a wooden thing above him?
Yeah.
He just had people pull it off, and then it just landed on his.
Oh, this isn't ritualistic at all.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing with Bill Gates.
What was Bill Gates thinking of in the future?
I love that Bill Gates is so rich that he couldn't do it himself. He had to have scaffolding built to pour water over himself, or have water pour water over himself by minions.
He's probably got temples and stuff, so he can do all his weird shit.
So a number of YouTubers also fueled this at the time, probably Luke with his 1,000 followers. They are literally preparing the way for the Antichrist to sit on the throne, one said, citing as evidence the fact that Oprah Winfrey had said "in the name of ALS" before being doused. You may think that stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, but wake up, sheeple. It is, of course, Antichrist, Lucifer, Satan.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Makes more sense, because that's how he likes to go.
Definitely, yeah.
That's not a mouthful.
Yeah. Antichrist, Lucifer, Satan. Elsewhere, Justin Timberlake was identified as an Illuminati operative.
Who? I don't know who that is.
Because he was wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt.
I know who Pink Floyd is.
Yeah, wasn't this the same with Justin when Justin Bieber did it? He was sat next to someone that was wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt. there's something.
Yes.
There's some. Yeah.
There's
So they
something to do with
they
Pink Floyd.
started doing the whole.
Yeah.
Because of Pink Floyd t-shirts.
That's it. It's the Dark Side of the Moon thing. Yeah, absolutely. So they think that's linked to it. I'm not entirely sure how, but they do think that's linked to it.
Because of the triangle.
Yeah, well, that's it. Bill Gates, because he'd rigged up his buckets of some scaffolding, clearly intended to resemble the Temple of Solomon, and Justin Bieber, who they suspect is very much Beelzebub's army, because he appeared in the video with a friend wearing a New York Knicks t-shirt bearing the number 33. That's what he did.
That's the one. Okay. Yeah.
33.
Significance of the number 33?
Freemasonry. So,
But are Freemasons really satanic?
wow, they worship Baphomet. So I'm fucking around here. I'm so sorry.
We've always assumed Justin Bieber was on the dark side, hadn't we?
Oh, definitely. That's why you suddenly get covered in tattoos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're looking at Luke there because Luke also has a lot of tattoos.
He is well inked up.
Bieber, do we think Bieber is an innocent victim here, or do you think he's in on it?
Oh, I think he's an innocent victim. Sorry, because I feel very strongly about it. I feel
Bieber would have been very young at that time, surely.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think he was an adult.
16 at this
He was
point.
an adult.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that was said,
They got him early, didn't they?
Yeah, some of the stuff that was said to him, like it was like really inappropriate because it always makes me kind of wince.
When it was like people like Katy Perry and that just being very strange to him.
Yeah, I mean he's a cute boy, but there was other cute boy. It gives me the creeps. I feel like he needs protecting, even though like he's in his 20s now.
Well, Satan may protect him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So, Corey Griffin, a philanthropist who was instrumental in making the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge fundraising drive go viral, died after drowning in a diving accident off the coast of Nantucket, Massachusetts. Do you want to guess how old he was?
33. 27.
Exactly.
27.
The 27-year-old's life was tragically cut short on the 16th of August 2014. So this is very much just after this had all kicked off, when he dove off a wharf that serves as a popular diving perch for locals, resurfacing once more before disappearing back under the water and drowning.
So sad.
Yeah, Griffin helped turn the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS into a fundraising sensation after his friend Pete Freights was diagnosed, according to an obituary in the Boston Globe, with his father Robert describing him to the newspaper as one of the happiest guys in the world. He called me last night and told me he was in paradise. He added, this is his dad. Griffin reported he raised $100,000 as a fundraiser just hours before his death, with the Ice Bucket Challenge having been one of the biggest talking points online in the past over those few days. Was Griffin being punished for his involvement in creating the Ice Bucket Challenge by strange forces? Ice Bucket Challenge Satanism theorists have also said they found it odd that only the Boston Globe reported Griffin's passing. Given the overwhelming popularity of the Ice Bucket Challenge, his ironic death should have garnered more coverage during the frenzy of his creation. So they basically took this story and said, this is suspicious, he's died, and only one major news article has reported it. I don't really think that's very fair.
No, he wasn't a celebrity.
No.
You know,
it was just a very tragic accident, and just coincidentally at that time.
Yeah, I think with that type of thing, it's because even though he has started it, that I think it's the celebrities that have mad more in the whole Ice Bucket Challenge. So people aren't really looking at him for it. They've been looking more at the celebrities, so they sort of just forgotten about him.
Yeah,
and that's why just one person reports it, because probably wasn't even found out very quickly.
No, I don't think it was. And I wonder, actually, part of it was that this was so viral and so big that it probably got drowned in the... that's a really bad pun to use.
That's such a great term.
That's a really bad term to use. But it got lost in the noise of the, as you say, celebrities doing it, and just the general media coverage of the Ice Bucket Challenge.
I mean, this is the first time I've heard of him.
So he was basically one of the best friend of one of the founders of the movement who had ALS. So he did an enormous amount for this fundraising.
What a great thing to have done.
Yeah,
I mean, it's terrible that he's dead at 27, but he did a great thing. He raised money to help people because it's an awful bloody disease.
Yeah. So, but this is the problem with conspiracy theories. They will jump on anything like that and go, oh, that's got to be connected. Surely it can't just be a complete.
Well, he was 27.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's the one thing that people look at straight away as soon as they see the age 27. It's what's happened with a lot of recently. There's quite a few rappers that have died and there's been like the 21 Club again. That's been a whole thing. Been people dying at 27, and people still now look at it being like, oh yeah, something's happened here.
Yeah,
because they had a big career ahead of them. Someone's like killed them early or whatever. Because it was like one of the rappers just died from having a seizure, but people still like, no, someone's done something.
Yeah.
So people still look at that stuff now. So there's always people putting conspiracies whenever these deaths happen with people being quite young and popular.
I think there has to be, because someone's so young, you're right, I think there has to be another explanation for these people. They can't accept that an accident happens or something, that they can just, these things can suddenly happen, but we all know they can. It's just...
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. So religious connections. The Ice Bucket Challenge's use of water is like the religious ritual of baptism. The baptism ceremony is part of several Christian-based religions, including Catholics, Protestants, and Jehovah's Witnesses. Baptism is also similar to a Jewish ritual known as Tivlah. T-V-I-L-A-H. Let's call it that. Tivlah.
Charlotte does it in Sex and the City.
Okay.
She converts.
I'm just going to say baptism was also similar to a Jewish ritual. There are several baptism methods.
You meant to say Sex and the City ritual.
Yes, sorry. Baptism is also similar to a Jewish Sex and the City ritual. There are several baptism methods, the most popular being sprinkled with water, has the water poured directly overhead, or in some cases immersed in a pool. Unlike Hindus who believe in a cyclical rebirth, where babies are born into Hinduism, Christians use baptism as a ceremony to purify the sins and express loyalty to God's will.
I mean, it can be... Are you baptized?
Yeah, christened.
Christened.
Yeah.
Are you baptized?
Because,
Yeah, I
CME,
was.
not proper religion.
Oh, no.
But I am not a religious person.
No, neither am I, but I'm baptized just to...
Yeah.
But I love all that ceremony. Like the cleansing ceremony is a thing in cultures,
In cults, don't you mean?
in cults. like the prevalence of showers. That there's an argument to be said that's ritualistic cleansing. We got to wash away the earthly to accept a greater, higher spiritual realm.
Yeah. And we stink if we don't.
Yeah. Well, I definitely do. God.
Across religions and history, the symbolism behind water has represented cleansing and purity. For an individual, being washed over with water would signify purification and revitalization, both physically and spiritually. On the other hand, massive floods, flash floods, and the like would be examples of symbolic cleansing of society. Dark forces don't use water as a tool for sanctification.
Oh, that's not true. They absolutely do.
When?
Like in certain rituals and whatever, like the dark, in scrying, which is the dark mirror. So if you've got a smartphone, you look into a dark mirror, which is why the TV show is called Black Mirror. But it goes back all that. But the way that you would do that would be a black lake. So like you could do that. Water is used. Like water is one of the natural elements. So water, fire, earth, and water. No, water, fire, air and water. Oh my God! Like
this is the band.
Oh my God! Yes, the band. Fire, earth,
fire, wind, and water.
Yes,
Yes,
the
the
four
band.
natural elements.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
That's the band.
Oh my God! What is going on today? See,
It's got puns on tap today.
Oh my goodness. So like water is used. Like that's just not true.
Yeah.
Water is used in. Yeah.
Were you saying those with the? I know it's not related, but with the film Evil Dead, they do water and fire. So those are two things.
Yeah.
You have the water that they can't escape because of the
I love how they get trapped.
The
That's one of my
overflow,
favorite
yeah.
things about Evil Dead.
and then there's a big fire at the end.
Yeah.
As well, and the wind is how the thing gets in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the earth, is symbolized by the roots and the trees.
Oh yeah. And she has to be buried in the earth to cleanse
I love
her.
those movies so much. Oh my God.
Earth, Wind, and Fire was the band, wasn't it?
Earth, wind, and fire, but it's earth, wind. It's earth, air, fire, and water.
Okay.
Are the four natural.
That's because the Pokemon as well.
And the
There you go.
Pokemon, yes.
Well, yeah.
Pokemon. And there was a Battle Beasts from the 80s. Did you ever have Battle Beasts? So they each had a symbol. And anyway, I gotta shut up. Sorry.
You're looking at Luke like he grew up in the 80s. And
No, he's a young man.
He's a young man.
I grew up
Okay,
in-
so witchcraft and the Ice Bucket Challenge. In medieval times, pagans or practicing witches were considered agents of the devil. Demonologists, is that right? Is that the word? Demonologists?
Demonologist,
Okay.
yeah. I
Of
don't
the
know.
time decided, well, you say that, but you
Yeah, it
usually
is
do.
demonology.
Yeah, so you do know, yeah. Demonologists of the time decided that the accused would need to attend trial by ordeal, a water trial. The charged subject would be tied to a rope to be retrieved and then immersed in water. Under the terms of the trial, if the accused sank in the water, they were considered innocent, but if they floated, it was a sign they were in cahoots with the devil.
Yeah. So dead either way.
Yeah. I mean, We haven't done the witch trials, but at some point we probably will go on to them. Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was awful. Well, it was misogyny. It was older women having property rights, and they were like, "Oh, we can't have that," and they killed them. Like in the Salem's witch trials, you have all these the girls accusing everybody, and so many people died. But there's actually they accuse quite a high level person, and the judge goes, "No, that's not true," and it closes it right down. So they all knew that this nonsense was nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just it helped expedite things and getting money in.
Yeah.
So,
but there are a few towns now that have put, because there's a book called A Kind of Spark, and that's all about the witch trials.
Oh, good.
And because of that book, they made a TV show out of it, and then there's, like, a lot of people watched it. But now there's towns, because in the book it's about this girl that wants to have a plaque put in the town for all the witches that were killed.
Yeah.
And then now there's towns in the UK that have actually started doing plaques where the people were killed.
Oh, I'm
to sort of to show respect to the people that were,
because it was misogyny.
Yeah,
it was misogyny, and that's what it was. You know, which is there's an episode of Bewitched. I love it. Okay, are you familiar with the 60s sitcom Bewitched?
It, yes.
It was made into a very bad movie with Nicole Kidman. Not her fault. It was just terrible.
Is that with Will Ferrell as well?
Yeah, it's so bad.
It is bad.
It's so bad. And I remember
completely missed the point.
Completely missed the point.
It always happens with this.
And also Bewitched is just a wonderful TV show, and it gets really funky when it gets color. But there's a bit in that where, and the Bewitched TV series makes the point, like if they actually were witches, burning them at the stake or drowning them wouldn't work. They would be witches and have power, and that actually happens to Samantha. She does, she wiggles her nose and suddenly things are great. So I always the amount of people that died terrible death because, I mean, there was also male witches were hanged, but it was nowhere near the amount that it was. It was women doing things. Oh no, you can't have that. Like women having an opinion on something. Can't have that. Actually, it sounds like a great idea.
The reasons varied for why a trial by water would effectively determine if the accused were a witch, although spiritual causes were most common. Some argue that witches floated in water because they had rejected baptism, while others suggested that because water was so pure, it would repel the guilty. Taking the ice bucket challenge is a task that should not be taken lightly. The icy cold water is painful. The very thought of being drenched in cold water may not appeal to everyone, but participating in the challenge allows one to empathise with the suffering of those who have ALS and further promote awareness of this cruel disease. Perhaps people who genuinely buy into the concept of a satanic ritual simply don't have the guts or empathy to face the intimidating ice cold water. I think because the thing was you either did it or you donated.
Yeah.
And I think because they raised a ludicrous amount of money, so I think most people, even if they got nominated, they donated or did something anyway.
But there was one weird thing that came out when people were doing it, that doctors were actually recommending not to do it.
Yeah,
they said that it could cause problems later on in life, just from doing the ice bucket challenge. And that's why then people started saying about, oh, that's why it's a satanic ritual, because they're saying it's not. Like, it was they were raising money for charity and things, but they were also saying, oh, this is going to cause problems for people. So they're doing it now to sort of bring it into this whole cult they're making.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure that very much depends on the individual, but certainly vulnerable people with, especially older people with skin conditions or whatever it happens to be, it probably isn't a great idea to do it. But I mean, no one recommends jumping into icy cold water ever, so it is a bit of a mental thing to do. There's a lot that's sort of underpinning this, isn't there? It's not really about that particularly. It's about cults and society. It's about movements that gain traction quickly, and it's about people's resistance to that and people's interpretation of those things. That's what underpins this, doesn't it? Yeah, which we've said with a lot of conspiracies in the past.
I mean, it was such a sweeping movement. And everybody did it, and everybody was talking about it. So of course it was satanic, Although again, a cultic point of view, it is ritualistic baptism.
Yeah,
and that was 2014, and it's not like things got better. In 2014.
That is true.
And
we let the devil in. Look what's happened.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
Jared Leto started a cult. So
who would follow Jared Leto?
People did. They went to his island.
So what happened in his cult?
All I saw was pictures, but it was just him at the front of the room in a big white cloak.
He's always dressing
up. And
up.
all just women in the room, just sitting on the floor, listening to him speak. And that was what he was doing. And then he would go back to being in 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
And be like, no, I didn't do a cult. And then people would be like, what are these pictures here then? He's like, oh yeah, I remember that. But he would just, disappear for a bit.
There's
And
few
yet
actors
he's still in work.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. There's few actors I resonate less with. Every time he's in a movie, I just think,
You see Morbius?
oh my God, it's terrible.
So counterclaims. The theory of the Ice Bucket Challenge being a satanic ritual likely arises from a confusion or deliberate misinterpretation of symbols or actions involved. Rituals, particularly those associated with satanic practices, are characterized by specific beliefs, symbols and purposes aimed at invoking supernatural powers or entities. The Ice Bucket Challenge, on the other hand, has a clear and altruistic objective: to raise awareness for funds for ALS, a cause that affects thousands of individuals worldwide. If it was a satanic ritual, it doesn't really align with any of the values of what we know satanic rituals to be.
Well, I mean,
The cult-like element is there. I agree with that. But like Luke says, they build food bags.
Yeah. Watch Hail Satan.
Oh, no,
and they are the loveliest people
absolutely.
ever. I've been to there's the Satanic flea market that happens in London, and there's the Satanic Church. I think the UK people were there. And they're just really friendly people. They do crochet and stuff. And you're like, these people are
what is
wonderful.
more diabolical than crochet?
But they make like they do crochet and put it in frames and everything. Yeah. And
But crochet of what? The devil?
so they had one that says like Hail Satan and all that sort of stuff. But it's like in really nice colours and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, this is cute.
You know, the Rosemary's Baby, when she sort of walks into the tea party, I do sort of think, oh, they look like having a lovely afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the end of Rosemary's Baby isn't a sad ending. It's actually okay.
Well, it depends on your interpretation.
Well, there is a sequel to Rosemary's Baby.
I've never seen that. I think there's a prequel coming out.
There's a TV series as well that happened at one point. 5-part TV series.
Did you see that? No, I didn't. I mean, I love Rosemary's Baby. I really do.
But she joins, spoiler alert, she effectively joins them at the end, doesn't she?
She goes, I'm the mother of this child.
Yeah.
So you better respect me. And it's actually slightly different. You know, he needs his mother, you know. What have you done to his eyes? That's such a good film. I love it.
Oh, I will never watch it again though.
Oh, why not? Oh, yeah, sorry.
We know I will. I won't bring it into the...
I understand. Yeah.
Fair enough. So refuting the satanic ritual claim, several key points refute the idea that the Ice Bucket Challenge was a satanic ritual. Lack of evidence. There is no credible evidence linking the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Licking the ice bucket.
Which is an option.
We've just been tripping over our words this whole podcast. What's going on?
This is not an episode where I've forgotten how to read. So the challenge was as transparent in its goals and outcomes, with funds raised going directly to ALS research and support. I mean, yeah, fair enough. But then I guess there would rarely be evidence linking it to a satanic ritual anyway, would there? Anything to a satanic ritual. No. Positive impact. The Ice Bucket Challenge has a demonstrably positive impact, raising significant funds for ALS research and increasing public awareness about the disease. The outcome aligns with charitable efforts rather than any nefarious intent. It is fair to say, actually, that I don't think I really knew. I mean, I definitely didn't know that it was called ALS in the States before this happened.
No, we knew it as motor neuron disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we knew a bit more about it because of Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we had a bit more awareness about that in this country, but I think it definitely raised the profile, didn't it? And certainly, I mean, the money went to a good cause, but
yeah, absolutely,
just awareness of it.
I think there was one thing that people were complaining at one point, because there were celebrities doing it, but not actually speaking about the charity or anything. They weren't saying, oh yeah, I'm giving money to this. And then I think it was found out some celebrities were just joining in for fun, but they weren't giving any money. They weren't saying what the charity was, and people were like, well, this goes against it. So I think that's where people got the whole thing of, oh, this is why it's something bigger. This is why it isn't just for the charity.
They were just doing it for the
they were just doing it just to have a video and be like, look, I've done it. But it wasn't that they were saying in the video, I'm doing this to give money to charity. They were just making a video just for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's
just basically to be popular, just to jump on the bandwagon. Yeah. Yeah. Shameless. Public participation. The widespread participation in the challenge, including by well-known public figures, further underscores its legitimacy. Participants openly shared their involvement, promoting a sense of community and solidarity rather than secrecy or hidden agendas. And that's pretty true. I mean, generally speaking, if you're part of a cult, it's not widely advertised, is it? Unless you're trying to recruit people.
Tom Cruise It's widely advertised.
Fair points. Fair points. Luke.
Well, the thing, if it was an occultic practice, the whole point of magic is the reason it's occult, which means hidden, is you don't say what you're doing it for. So the fact that everyone was saying, oh, this is, this is bringing in the Antichrist and whatever. Occult practices don't work like this. Everything's done secretly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why all the videos that have come out of cults have come out after they've died.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like the videos of Jonestown and that, you only found stuff after, because they were filming stuff the whole time in that cult, and you only got it after the whole drink the Kool-Aid thing happened.
Yeah.
So that's why it's always very hidden. Yeah, with Heaven's Gate, that was they had those little videos online, but it wasn't until afterwards they found out there was more and more stuff being filmed to show properly that it was a cult.
So you keep it secret.
Yeah.
Keep it secret. You keep it occult.
You keep it occult. Misinterpretation of symbols. Conspiracy theories often rely on the misinterpretation of symbols or actions. Pouring ice water over one's head was simply a creative, memorable way to engage people, not a coded ritualistic act. Pretty true. You're not sure about that?
Well, the ritual is you can impute, you can imbibe meaning into anything.
Yeah.
So, like if and that is ritual, that is magic. So it's saying that we could. I'm very tired. I could do with an ice bucket challenge. Did I make a point there? Did I just?
I have to say, it is so hot in the studio today. We probably would all now do the ice bucket challenge.
Oh my god, I am up
it's
for
so hot.
Do you know that we should that was a missed thing. We should have done the
We
ice
should have
bucket
done it.
challenge.
Yeah.
Bringing back 2014.
But there have been revivals, actually. There have been attempts at reviving it. One of the interesting things about why I think this isn't very cult-like is because it was a moment in time where this happened, and I think someone tried to do it again in 2015, and it didn't really gain the traction. And I think they tried again in 2019, and again, like a few people did it.
It's done.
But it's a one and done thing, isn't it? It's had its moment in the sun. People are like, yeah, that was fun for a minute. Now we're like, it's a bit like doing the Macarena. Like it's like it was great in 1996.
No, it's in the past. It's safely in the past. It's happened.
Yeah. So positive impact and achievements. The Ice Bucket Challenge was incredibly successful in its goals. It raised over 115 million for the ALS Association in just a few months, a significant increase in funding for ALS research and patient care. The campaign also succeeded in raising public awareness about the disease, leading to increased understanding and support for those affected by ALS. The influx of funds accelerated scientific research, contributing to several important discoveries and advancements in the field. It's fair to say, because this actually, again, because it kicked off a level of awareness about this, people actually then started giving on a monthly basis, when you sort of give monthly to charity. So it wasn't just the amount of money they raised at the time, it was also how much money they raised in the 10 years since, because people have started supporting a charity they didn't necessarily know loads about. And actually, this Pete Frates guy, who's the best friend, is the one that had the accident and died. He became a public. So I think just simply by seeing his condition, people became aware of actually the effects of ALS.
Yeah, because we can do wonderful things. We can heal people but it requires money because that's the world we live in. And I think it's great that this happened.
There's a joyfulness about it, isn't there? Like I know we're talking about it being a satanic ritual, but generally speaking, this is an example of where social media actually can be quite an amazing thing.
Yeah,
a bit like building a following of people who love Pez dispensers. You're creating good in the world, Luke.
Yeah. You could talk about a cult.
Yeah. Do other people that collect Pez dispensers follow you?
Yeah. So there is the Pez community.
Yeah.
There's even a Pez gathering that happens yearly. Is that a thing? Yearly every 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it a thing.
That's what they do. So they run that every October. I went to it October 2 years ago, and it was fun. There's very nice people there. I think there were some people that I met. And then I was saying the years Pez dispensers, and they were like, "Oh, this is why you're here today, because you're telling us stuff that we don't know." But these are people that also collected a lot of Pez. So,
do you think you've inspired people who didn't collect Pez dispensers?
Oh yeah, there's people that have messaged me before, being like, "I've just bought my first Pez dispenser because of you."
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. And I've got people who also have messaged me, being like, "You've got me back into Wallace and Gromit."
Yeah.
And it's been
Well, I enjoy Wallace and Gromit so much more because of your videos, and I've watched them since.
I think there's something nice about seeing somebody with a real passion and love for something, because there's so much cynicism and in what the videos that we see in posted, particularly in comedy, because comedy is naturally cynical. But there's such joy in that, isn't there?
that's been the nice thing about, because I'm doing a whole show now about Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
It was people that had come along that they just wanted to see a show about Wallace and Gromit, and I'm up there just showing like weird stuff that I've bought, little silly items, that Wallace and Gromit stuff, and there's people getting excited about it, which is just something I want to do. Like I've always, with comedy, I've not always wanted to, like I know I'm speaking about myself on stage, but I want people to find joy, like in what I'm doing at the same time as well.
But you're a great performer. I always love your shows, and part of the, because I'm a collector as well, and not of Pez dispensers, of other things. But I love your passion for it, because there's so much joy in collecting.
Yeah, there really
I have
is.
the thing that maybe no one else, like, it's so much fun. So I can relate to that. But
I
I
also
always love
enjoy
your
your
shows.
passion for Coronation Street the movie. That was one of my favourite things you ever talked about.
That was the one time that I put so much research into just looking into all the Coronation Street stuff.
Yeah.
And then seeing that there was the movie, because they were like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that stuff and it was fun. But I remember sometimes I'd have an American audience in, and I'd started the Coronation Street bit. And I remember one time looking out, these two people that were just from America that had travelled, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to watch some comedy tonight." And there's just me telling the Coronation Street stuff.
This is going to be a long hour.
This is. I've just got to do this bit now, because the one review I've got of me doing when I did my show, I had the Coronation Street bit in, and of course the review had to be, the Coronation Street references were niche, and I'm like, that's the whole reason I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because I want everyone to know about it. I'm doing something.
The most popular soap opera in the UK for the last 30,000 years.
Yeah, and they were like, it was too niche. I'm like, but I was doing it because I was making up stuff that didn't actually happen in the show, and then I was talking about the real stuff that did happen in the show.
And if you went too broad, the criticism would be, he was too broad on this.
Yeah.
It's always the way with reviewers. So they claimed that the Ice Bucket Challenge was a satanic ritual is thought to be baseless and misleading. The challenge was a remarkable example of how social media can be harnessed for positive social impact, raising significant funds and awareness for a critical cause. It demonstrated the power of collective action and the potential for viral campaigns to affect real change. By examining the origins, purpose and outcomes of the Ice Bucket Challenge, many would say it is clear that it was a charitable initiative with no connection to any occult practices. It is important to critically evaluate such conspiracy theories and rely on factual information to understand the true nature and impact of social movements. So, Luke, as a Pez dispenser cult leader yourself, was the Ice Bucket Challenge a satanic ritual?
I don't think it was, but I know David's going to disagree.
I think it did a lot of good. And I think we can smear it by saying it was a satanic ritual. I do think ritualistic.
Yeah.
I do think the world went to hell in the handbasket after this all happened, 2014. By 2016, we saw the world was falling apart, and now we're in the end times, in the year of our Lord Chapel Roan. And it could be. Lady Gaga was definitely satanic.
This is a long-winded way of saying no.
I want to be fair.
It's a ritual, but not satanic, is what you're trying to say. Yeah. I agree. I'm just going to follow cults that Luke starts now. That's
Pez.
Yeah, Pez. It's safer. Luke, would you like to look into this camera and tell people where they can find you, where you're doing your show, all that kind of stuff?
Well, you can find me, Vegan Luke, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I know my name is Vegan Luke on there, but I don't make actually any vegan content. It's mostly Wallace and Gromit and Pez content. And then I am doing, it's pointless me saying this, right? February 2025.
Yay!
2nd of February 2025, I'm doing my show Cracking. That's the next date I have, but I'm hoping to get more dates this year.
Yeah.
Just it's very hard to try and find stuff.
But if
follow Luke, he puts out some fantastic content, and do go and see his shows, particularly if you love Wallace and Gromit. They are always fun and they are just a delight, aren't they?
So funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like a ice joke? Because I couldn't find that bucket challenge joke was appropriate to end the podcast. Okay. Why can't you get a job at the ice rink? There's a hiring freeze. Yeah? Anyone? That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Please like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. The more lovely subscribers we get, the more episodes we'll make. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok for regular updates and exclusive videos at Believe Conspiracy Pod. We love you. Bye!